Hello Outdoor Adventure students, Mr. Osmic here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make a 6 foot or 6'10" fishing rod. So we got the kit here. Inside the kit you have this either 6 foot long or 6'10" blank. You might have a spinning rod, reel seat, or if it's a bait caster, to have a little bit of a finger hook on it. If it's a bait caster. You got some cork handles, and you got some brown thread. So some other things you're going to need to do the fishing rod is a sharp razor blade. Don't cut yourself. Be very careful with that. You also got a package of hardware, which includes the eyelets and the cork back for it also. But again, you're going to need a sharp razor blade. You're going to need some epoxy with it also. You should have gotten directions on it, and on the back side it tells you how far to space the eyelets, if it's a 6 foot spinning or a 6 foot bait caster or 6'10" spinning, it has it on here. And it has other directions too on how to do some things on there. So anyways, like I said, it comes with brown thread, and brown is going to work. Brown will catch fish, but it's brown. It ends up looking like this one. This is an ice fishing one, but it's kind of the same. It's brown. It's just kind of a brown, yeah, nothing fancy. What I would highly suggest you guys do is go to Thorn Brothers over in Blaine by the National Sports Center, and they sell different color thread. You cannot use sewing thread. Fishing rod thread's a little bit different. This is actually red. It looks brown on the camera, but you can buy red, you can buy blue, you can buy silver, you can buy black, you can buy pink, you can buy any color that you want, yellow, multiple colors, and then you can personalize the rod. So just when you see the rod, you know it's yours, not a brown rod like everyone else has. And so you can start to let me just pause here. Had someone come by the door and pick up an ice fishing rod kit. So anyways, like I was saying, you can get different color threads, and with that you can start to personalize your design. And so this one has like a blue with a little silver twist to it. It looks kind of nice. Again, it's different than blue. Here's one. You can actually make a wooden handle, make your own handle. But again, a little different design on it. It's maroon with little gold, little gophers color there. Here's another one that, again, a different handle that actually made out of diamond willow on it. Pretty cool. And then I did a marbling on it. So you're going to put epoxy over the thread, and the epoxy is wet. It takes 24 hours to dry. And I could put some paint in here, red paint, blue paint, yellow paint, so just swirl it around with a toothpick, and it ends up looking like it's a marble effect on it. And again, you can get the paint that's called, I forgot the name, muddy water, something like that. But anyway, so there's a lot of things you can do to personalize it, and that's what you should do with this project. Don't just do the brown thread. Try to make just that extra touch to it, the extra that makes it yours, to differentiate it from every other one. So when you get your kit, the first thing you need to do is to get the handle attached to the blank itself. And so if you look at it, this is not going to fit in that hole. The cork hole is too small. If you decide to cut this down to make it a little bit shorter pole, it might fit in there. Probably not. But what you need to do then is to sand down the cork. This is something you might want to do. You might want to come into school and do this. We have these, they're designed for working with the cork handles where it can fit in. This one is too small, so they build up in size. Go to the next size, and again that's, there's a side. And so you can start to file this out, going from the big side, the end side, and these files are designed to kind of go with the same shape as the rod itself. So again, you're going to spend maybe 20 minutes sanding this down. A regular drill could work, but a regular drill bit is going to be the same shape. So it might fit on this side, but it's going to be the hole will be too big on this side. So anyways, I would encourage you to come into school and sand these down. This is going to slide from the top down, so the skinny side all the way down. We'll pull my eye out there. And again, that would go all the way down to the back end, where you would then glue it on. And so you're going to need to use epoxy, 5-minute epoxy. There's a resin, right here is the resin, and then the other one is a hardener. You want to mix these exactly 50-50. So you can use a disposable cup and just a little bit, 50-50. I would go a little bit extra hardener. Otherwise, if you do too little hardener, it's not going to get hard. Common sense. So I would err on putting too much hardener in. Stir it up, mix them up. Once it mixes together, it's an exothermic reaction that now it's going to start to get hard with the oxidation of the air here. And so you glue on the butt, or the main cork piece, to the very end. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to sell this rod right here, but I want to show you how to do it. So the next thing is you got the reel seat. So the reel seat needs to fit on to where you have your glued on cork handle. So you got my cork. This is going to fit on right here. But if you notice, there's a lot of play in there, a lot of room inside of that right there. Again, it's super big compared to the handle right there. So you need to build up the handle, the rod blank, where this is going to sit. And what you do is you use masking tape. And let me go grab the masking tape here. So assuming this cork handle would fit right up to here, now I need to put my reel seat on, but this is too big of an opening compared to the rod. So I'm taking masking tape, and I'm going to just spin it, get it nice and tight, nice and tight. You don't want to have any kind of loosey-goosey stuff on it. It's going to take quite a bit because there's a big difference right here. If you do not do this, the reel seat is going to spin on you because it's not going to glue down securely. And the reel seat could also break. So again, I got quite a bit on here. I'm going to see if the reel seat's going to fit on, and still too loose. So I'm going to put a few more wraps on. And again, get it nice and tight. Tighty-righty, lefty-loosey. It doesn't matter right now. So again, got a few more wraps on it. And again, I would not be able to slide it on this way because I'm going to have this cork handle already glued on right there. But for this, I'm going to. And that's a good fit right there. That's tight. I like that. So again, this is going to fit on. Oh, maybe too tight. I'm going to take off one layer here. So realize this is going to fit on from the skinny end all the way down. All the way down. And actually, yeah, that's too tight right there. So I'm going to take off one little layer here. And then you would do another, where's the end on it here? So take off one little wrap, so I might make it nice and tight here, but not too tight. There we go, much better like that. I'm going to do another one in the middle, another one at the very end. So I'm going to have 3 pieces of tape here. Okay, so now that I got that built up, again, this is already glued on right here. Now I can slide the reel seat down. You'd want to put 5-minute epoxy in here again. So you probably need to make a whole new batch of the 5-minute epoxy because this took longer than 5 minutes to do, and my cup of epoxy is already hard. So I got to do another 50-50 mixture, stir it nice and slow, exothermic reaction. And then this slides on. And then one thing you want to make sure, on the reel seat, there is a spot for the reel to fit into, a little bit of an elevated groove where the reel is going to sit into. That should be lined up with the spine of the rod. And so let me explain what the spine of a rod is. A spine is like you, that you have a spine on your back, you like to bend. It's easier to bend forward than it is left or right. And so a fishing rod has a spine that if you were to, I'm going to demonstrate this with a piece of tape right here. I'm going to put the tip on the floor, and I'm going to start to spin. Do it up here. You might be able to see it easier. Maybe not. Turn the camera down. I'm going to start to spin the rod, and all of a sudden the rod tends to snap a certain direction, and this one's not doing it that pronounced. Maybe right there. And so when you spin it, it just see I'm doing a little bit of a twist on it. It tends to stop kind of the same spot every time. That's the spine. That's the way you want your rod to bend. That's the side your eyelets want to be on. That's the direction you want your reel seat to be on. So I'm going to make sure my reel is going to line up with the bend of it, the way the fishing rod likes to bend naturally. If you don't do that, it's not the end of the world. But like you like to bend this way, the rod likes to bend that way. If you put the eyelets on this side, you're going to be going against the natural grain of the spine itself. So, all right. So put the reel seat on, epoxy that on, and then this right here is the next piece. And again, this here needs to be filed down again with the handy dandy file. Again, you might want to come to school to do this. This whole first section you might want to do at school since we have these nice files for you. And then once that's done, that would slip all the way down and you epoxy this on right here. And then the handle's all done. And I'll show you next how to do the eyelets. Alright, so let me show you guys how to tie an eyelet on. You can look online, there's a lot of directions on how to do this. I'm going to use actually a thicker thread so you can see it. But the first thing on the back of the sheet, again, there's different things for a bait caster, some for spin caster. Depends if you have a 6'10" or a 6 foot or 5 foot. But it tells you how far to space the eyelets on there. You can take a little piece of tape, kind of mark the spots, what other directions tell you to. And then when you tie the eyelet on, what I like to do is to, so here's the eyelet right here. There is a foot on it. So here's the eyelet. That's the foot right there. I like to take a file and just file that down just to make it a little bit thinner. So it's a little bit easier to wrap the thread on top of it. So with your eyelets now, what you need to do, I like to have, so I have this stand. I have a wooden stand right here that it just kind of holds the fishing rod in place as you're wrapping. But you can also just take a cardboard box such as so, and the fishing rod would fit inside of here. Again, it's a place to put your rod if you want to take a break as you're wrapping, and it's not going to unravel then. Otherwise, it might start to spin on the table, and so just kind of hold it in place here. What I like to do then, when you're doing your wrap, so I like to tape the eyelet down on the foot. They do actually sell guide glue, which kind of glues it in place. I don't like doing that because once I have this wrapped, I want to be able to move the eyelet so it lines up with the reel seat. Okay, so I have a heavy book, like a dictionary, that the thread's going to go through, and I'll show you that in a second. I got some students coming in, so I'll come back. All right, back again. So yeah, so you're going to need a heavy book, and you're going to put your thread through the pages, and then the thread is going to go from here up to your eyelet, and this is going to keep the thread tight. It needs to be tight. That's probably the biggest suggestion, is keep that thread tight as you're wrapping it on. If it gets loose, it's going to fall apart. So to start out, I got my eyelet kind of tied on here, anchored down. Should do a better job of it. I should have a thinner piece, but that might work. So again, I got it tied on with the foot exposed down there. I'm going to take my thread, and the key part is I'm going to point the thread towards the eyelet. I'm going to hold it down, continue to hold it down as I wrap around. And now, this is the key thing. I'm going to cross over. I'm going to cross over that thread once. I'm going to cross over the thread again. I'm going to cross over the thread again. And now, I don't even need to hold that thread. Just that this tight rope going to the book is wrapping around this little tag. and I can just keep unwrapping. And so I don't even have it on those braces. I can just hold it right here and wrap. I'm going to go up a little bit here. So I want to put it on a stand right now. So I got to get a stand. So I got that tag right there. This is where the sharp razor blade comes in place. I can take that sharp razor blade and cut that extra tag off, such as so. I can actually slide this whole thing closer to my foot right now, or the eyelet foot, I should say, not my foot. And now I'm going to continue to wrap. If you notice, I'm not wrapping back and forth. I have the thread right next to the previous thread. And so it's one layer, not multiple layers. And so I'm just going to keep on wrapping. I get close to the foot. I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull the thread up onto the foot a little bit right there, such as so. So I'm up on the foot. See if I can move these stands here a little bit so I can get closer to it here. And so I am wrapping over the foot right now, just one layer next to the other layer. So now that I'm up here, and so I have a little gap right there in here, I'm going to now slide my thread down towards the foot. If you don't, right there, perfect. Oh, it's a beautiful job. Thank you. So if you don't wrap up on the foot first, what happens is the thread keeps on slipping down, and it ends up having a big knot at the base of the foot. All right, so now that I'm up on the foot, I can take this tape off because now the pressure of that thread is holding the eyelet in place. Take off this other piece of tape, which I never did in the first place. And again, you guys can go online, go on the Google and look up how to tie an eyelet on. So again, it's just one thread next to the other thread. You see some spaces in there. I can slide this down. I can push it down. I can get rid of those empty spaces on there. And then I'm going to pause. I'm going to show you how to finish up. So how to finish an eyelet. So when I started out, I wrapped over the thread to create it tight. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull this thread that's going under the book to the spool. I'm going to pull that underneath these wraps right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue to wrap. I'm going to get close to the end of the foot. I'm going to get a different color thread, and I'm going to put that, make a loop out of it, put that loop underneath it, and now I'm going to continue to wrap over it. This is a pretty big pink rope right now, but I'm going to continue to wrap over the pink one until I get to the end of the eyelet there. And then now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the yellow thread. Don't cut yourself. Cut the yellow. Then I'm going to I'm holding my finger so it doesn't unravel. I'm going to put that yellow cut end through the pink loop, hopefully, through the pink loop. Get in there. There we go. Hold it tight. And now watch, as I grab the two ends of the pink, I'm going to pull. The pink loop's going to get smaller. I'm going to grab that yellow rope and I'm going to pull it underneath. So now the yellow rope, the yellow thread, got pulled underneath the wrap. I can take my razor blade again and cut that nice and close, and that is a completed eyelet right there. What's nice is that I didn't tape this down or didn't use the guide glue. I can now turn this a little bit and get it lined up with my reel seat back here. All right, and again, that's a very basic way to tie an eyelet on. What you should do is do a fancy design. Do that crisscross pattern. Get some black maybe and do a crisscross pattern on top of that. Or get a blue or silver, do an accent down below. So again, personalize that. Make it fancy so it really states who you are and what you believe in and what life is all about. So I hope that helps out, guys. When you're all done doing the eyelets, you need to put a coat of epoxy on. It's called Flex Coat. It's a 24-hour epoxy. Do not use this 5-minute epoxy. This will not work. This dries hard and brittle, and once your rod starts to bend, it's going to crack. So the 24-hour epoxy or Flex Coat, we have that at school. You can come in, we can put it on. You might want to put on what's called a color preserver. It's going to preserve the yellow. If you do not put color preserver on, the yellow is going to kind of get bled out, and you're going to see the black shine through, which is fine. It just might not be what you want. If you do multiple colors, for sure use the color preserver first, and then again you put the Flex Coat on, and then we're going to put it in a machine that's going to rotate this for 24 hours. If you don't rotate it, that 24-hour Flex Coat is going to get a big drip down here, and it looks awful. So you can also put the 24-hour Flex Coat on at Thorn Brothers. They're going to charge $10-15 for it. They do a wonderful job, though. You can go to Gary Wicks, who we got these kits from. He can do it at his house for another $10, something like that. Or come to school and do it for free. All right, hope that helps out, guys. Have fun. If you have any questions about how to build a fishing rod, ask your teacher, and they'll help you out. Peace out. Enjoy.